Hello team players! A while ago, I did a video covering the basic healing options in Pathfinder 2e. That video did so well that today I want to cover more advanced options. However, in this video, I'm only going to be covering options from Player Core 1, and I will not be covering spells other than focus spells. Number 1, far too many options for me to cover in one video. And 2, I think other healing options deserve their own video. That being said, let's get right into this. To start, we got a few Ancestry options to go over. Starting with the Gnome's Vivacious Conduits. With this level 9 feat, if you rest for 10 minutes, you regain hit points equal to your Constitution modifier times half your level. This does stack with any healing you receive from treat wounds. Granted, this does only work on you. However, this feat alone makes playing a melee gnome worth it, especially if you have high constitution, as the party doesn't have to spend as much time healing you as they do other party members, which is very useful if you're playing a tank, like a champion or a barbarian. If you've got a 4 constitution, healing 16 hit points just from resting 10 minutes is pretty insane. This also does work really well with the Kineticist class as well. Moving on, we got a couple of Leshy options as well, starting with the Fruit Leshy Heritage. Your body creates 1 juicy fruit per day. You or an ally can remove this fruit as an interact action. If a living creature that can derive sustenance from the fruit uses an interaction action to eat it within the next hour, they regain 1d8 hit points plus an additional 1d8 hit points for every 2 levels you have beyond first. This one is great because anyone can eat the fruit. You can heal it from it, your allies can heal from it, doesn't matter. This is only a once per day thing. However, this is a great way to heal anyone if you run out of other healing options. And finally, for the Leshy, we have Solar Rejuvenation. This is effectively Vivacious Conduit for the Gnome, except that it requires a suitable environment for the Leshy. Most Leshies need to be outside to use this. However, Leshies whose nourishment does not require sunlight require a different environment. For example, fungus Leshies need dark, damp places and decaying plant matter. This is good for the same reasons Vivacious Conduit is. However, it is a little more situational just because you have to be in the right environment to use it. Now that we're done with Ancestry options, let's talk about classes, starting with the Bard. Other than the Soothe spell, which I did cover in my basic healing video, Bards do have a couple of focus spell options for healing. Starting with Hymn of Healing. With this composition spell, you can target yourself or one ally within 30 feet. You can also sustain this spell for up to 4 rounds. The target of this spell gains fast healing too. In addition, when you cast the spell, and each time you sustain it, the target also receives 2 temporary hit points, which last 1 round. Heightening this spell by 1 rank increases the fast healing and the temporary hit points by 2. This is a first level focus spell, so you can pick this up right away. Which if you're trying to be a healing bard, this is an excellent one to pick up, because it is effectively 4 hit points per round for 4 rounds, and that's just at level 1. Remember, this is a focus spell, which means it heightens automatically. So when you can cast 5th rank spells, this is effectively 20 hit points per round. It does only last for 4 rounds. But that can definitely be the difference between life and death. In addition, bards also have access to the Soothing Ballad focus spell. This 7th rank focus spell targets you and up to 9 allies within 30 feet. With this spell, you can choose one of the following effects. Attempt to counteract fear effects on the targets, attempt to counteract paralysis effects on the targets, or heal the targets for 7d8 hit points. This one's pretty great because not only does it allow you to possibly heal a bunch of damage to a whole bunch of people, but if more than one party member is frightened or paralyzed, this is a great one to cast. The only bad part about this is that it's pretty high level, but it does make sense for it to be, a 14th level feat to take this. Alright, there are a ton of options for healing with the Cleric class. Let's just get right into these, starting with healing fonts. This, of course, is the cleric's bread and butter. This does give clerics 4 additional spell slots that they can only use for the heal spell, which of course I did cover in my basic healing video. You get 1 additional slot for this at 5th level and at 15th level. Speaking of healing font, the Healing Hands feat requires healing font. You get to roll d10s on your heal spells rather than d8s, which is just a chance for even more healing when you cast the heal spell. It's a pretty nice feat. Then at level 2, we've got communal healing. When you heal 1 creature with the heal spell, you can heal yourself or another creature within range of the spell for hit points equal to the heal spell's rank. So at this level, that's 2 additional hit points. Unfortunately, you do have to choose another creature besides the target of your heal spell for this feat, which means the extra healing can't stack with the healing from your heal spell. But if you've got a target that needs a lot of healing and another target who needs a little bit of healing, this is a great one to use. Also at level 2, we have Sap Life. This one allows you to heal yourself when you cast harm spells. When you cast the harm spell, you regain hit points equal to the rank of the harm spell. This feat does not work if you aren't a living creature. This one is great for War Priest clerics that want to use harmful fonts, especially for those parties that don't really have another tank. At level 4, we've got Sacred Grounds. This one works fantastic with the Treat Wounds action outside of combat. You can use this feat once every 10 minutes, and it requires 1 minute of praying. This feat creates a 30-foot burst centered on you. Any creature that is in the area for the full 10 minutes that this lasts regains hit points equal to your level. If you have the healing font, this heals living creatures. If you have harmful font, this heals undead creatures. If you've got versatile fonts, you can use either or both. However, this feat can never damage creatures. Since Treat Wounds already takes 10 minutes, this is just a no-brainer, as it allows you to get guaranteed healing on top of what you heal with Treat Wounds. Granted, it isn't a huge amount, but it is more. Moving on, we have the next step up from Healing Hands with Magic Hands. When you succeed at your medicine check to treat wounds, you can roll d10s instead of d8s and add a status bonus equal to your level to the healing. That Sacred Ground feat I just covered works with this. So this is even more healing out of combat. Combining these 2 feats means if you succeed on your medicine check, it's 2d8 plus double your level. And that's if you're just trained in medicine. It's even more if you're an expert, master, or legendary. If you're trying to be an out-of-combat healer, those 2 are definitely ones you want to pick up. Now we move on to focus spells, starting with the Life Domain. First up is Healer's Blessing. With this 1-action spell, you target 1 willing living creature within 30 feet. For the next minute, if that creature receives healing from a Healing Vitality spell, they regain an additional 2 hit points. The target can only regain additional hit points from this spell once per casting of a spell. So a spell that heals multiple times for a duration, such as Regenerate, would only work once with this spell. Hiding this spell does increase the additional healing by 2. Remember that this works with any Healing Vitality spell, not just the heal spell. So a spell like Breath of Life would also work with this, making this a great option for any healing spell you want to cast during combat. And of course, the advanced domain spell for the Life Domain is Rebuke Death. This 4th rank domain spell covers a 20-foot emanation area, and you can target 1 creature per action that you use on the spell. Each creature you target heals for 3d6 damage. In addition, if the target had the dying condition, it does not increase the wounded condition from this healing. Heightening this spell by 1 rank increases the healing by 1d6. This was a great one to cast if you've got anyone with the dying condition, because this brings them up from dying without increasing the wounded condition, which is a huge deal. This spell alone makes the Life Domain definitely worth picking up. And finally, for the Cleric, we have the Advanced Domain spell for the Magic Domain, Mystic Beacon. You can target one willing creature within 30 feet with this spell, and it lasts until the start of your next turn. The next damaging or healing spell that the target casts deals damage or restores hit points as if the spell were heightened to one rank over its actual rank. This only applies to the initial damage or healing, not any ongoing effects. Once the target casts the spell, this spell ends. This one is fantastic because it works on any willing creature and works with damaging or healing spells. It's also one of the few ways that someone can cast a spell heightened to a higher rank than they could normally cast. So if you're a Cleric with the Magic Domain, this is definitely one you want to pick up. Okay, now we got a few options for the Druid. Floral Restoration requires the Leaf Order. Once per day, you can regain 4d8 hit points and 1 focus point. However, you must be in an area with at least 15 feet of healthy plant life, although this can be any form of naturally occurring plant life. Using this feat on a section of plant life does not harm it, but it does prevent you from using this feat again for 24 hours. At 9th level and every 2 levels afterward, the healing increases by 1d8. Unfortunately, this is only available to the Leaf Order Druids, but it is a good way to keep yourself up, which allows you to heal the party more, and more importantly, get back one of your focus points, which will allow you to use your focus spells again, which of course I will cover the ones that heal later in this video. There's also an option for healing wild druids, that being Healing Transformation. This is a one-action spell-shaped feat. If your next action is to cast a polymorph spell that targets a single creature, such as any of the wild-shaped spells, your spell also heals 1d6 damage per rank of the spell, which effectively means you're healing yourself and getting temporary hit points from the polymorph spell. In addition, this also works on allies if you cast the right spell. This means if you cast something like the Enlarge spell on an ally, you're going to be able to heal them in addition to the effects of Enlarge, which makes this feat excellent for any druid that wants to cast polymorph spells, not just Untamed Order druid. Now, of course, we gotta talk about druid focus spells. Starting with the order spell for the animal order, Heal Animal. This is effectively the heal spell, except for 2 things. First, there is no 3-action version of this spell. And secondly, that means it can only target one willing living animal within 30 feet. It otherwise functions as the heal spell. And we also have the order spell for the Leaf Order, Cornucopia. This spell lasts for 10 minutes. You create a piece of produce that heals 1d6 plus 4 damage to any creature that eats it with an interact action. The cornucopia and any pieces of fruit remaining wither away at the end of the duration. Heightening this spell by 1 rank increases the number of fruit produced by 1. In addition, eating 6 pieces of fruit gives as much nourishment as a standard meal for a typical human. Unfortunately, this one is better out of combat because you have to spend an interact action to eat each fruit, which means you can only eat 3 fruit in a single round of combat, and that's if you spend all 3 actions, which isn't great. But this does allow you to get some more healing on top of treat wounds outside of combat, making it a great option for that. Now it's time for me to cover some obscure classes that you might not know have healing options, starting with the Ranger. The Heal Companion focus spell is basically the heal spell, except it can only target your animal companion, and it heals for 1d10 per spell rank. In addition, just like the Heal Animal focus spell, it does not have a 3-action version. So you get to heal your animal companion, which can be very useful. Also for a Ranger focus spell, we have Soothing Mist. With this spell, You can target one willing living creature or one undead creature within 30 feet. If you target a living creature, it heals for 2d8 hit points. You can also end one source of acid, bleed, fire, poison, or void damage affecting it. You only get one source of persistent damage, even if the target is suffering from multiple of them. Against undead creatures, the target takes 2d8 vitality damage with a basic fortitude save. If they fail the save, they also take 2 persistent vitality damage. Heightening this spell by 1 rank increases the damage or healing by 1 rank, and increases the persistent damage to undead by 1. You do need to be a level 4 ranger to take this feat. However, just the fact that rangers have healing options is pretty insane. But I'm sure a lot of you probably know about the witch option, Life Boost. This is a hex you can get with the basic lesson feat. You can target one creature within 30 feet. For 4 rounds, that creature gains fast healing 2. Heightening this spell by 1 rank increases the fast healing by 2. This is good for the same reason that Hymn of Healing is good, but just doesn't heal as much. It's about half the healing, but it is good still. Giving a creature fast healing means less heal spells need to be thrown their way, which in boss fights can be a huge boon. And lastly, we have an option for a class that you probably didn't expect. Believe it or not, even wizards have a healing option at this point, with the Community Restoration Focus spell. This is the advanced school spell for the School of Civic Wizardry. When you cast a wizard spell that affects one or more allies without damaging them, you can use a reaction to gain 2 temporary hit points per rank of the triggering spell. You can also grant an equal number of temporary hit points divided as you choose among all allies affected by the spell. All temporary hit points granted by this spell last for 1 minute. The fact that any wizard at all has a healing option is pretty insane. Also, this does give you an incentive to use support spells with a wizard, as I know a lot of people that play wizards just want to damage foes. Wizards do have support spells, and you should be using them even if you built your character towards damaging foes. And that's all the ancestry and class options for healing in Player Core 1. If you want me to cover the Kinesis healing options, I'll do that in another video, so let me know in the comments below. I may also cover healing items in that video as well. If you guys want a basic healing video, I've got a video for that. Or maybe you want a healing teamwork belt. If you want either of those, you can check out these videos here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.